Hi, everyone. Today we're going to talk about do I have to live on campus? We're going to talk about living in a dorm, commuting, as well as extracurricular activities and being a student athlete.
You don't. I lived at home with my parents, and I was only 10 to 12 minutes away from campus. And ultimately, I think that was a great choice because I saved a ton of money from room and board. So, personally, I think it was a good idea, but I think that's up to whatever you would choose.
Campus. So at my school, freshmen have to live in a dorm for 1 year, but when you're a sophomore and you can live wherever. And my friends live off campus and it's fine. Places are usually cheaper off campus, but I live on campus because I want to be able to walk to classes. And because parking is really bad at my campus, people get towed, people get tickets. So I just like playing it safe and walking to class. But my friends that live off campus, they're fine.
I lived in a dorm my freshman year. I lived with two different roommates actually, and it was quite a challenging experience. My first roommate actually moved out 2 days into the semester, my first semester at BGSU, and that was kind of crazy for me. She up and left and said, "This is not for me." So, people watching this, sometimes it just isn't for you, and don't be afraid to change last minute because she did, and she is much happier where she is now. Um, my second roommate, we did get along in the beginning. We did not in the end. I say just stick it out the best you can. Use your resident advisor, your RA, and they'll help you solve conflicts when needed. But you're just not going to get along with everybody, and that's okay. Um, and some people just become best friends with their roommates. So it definitely depends on the people. Stick it out. It's fun part of your college experience.
So, I live in a dorm on campus, and it's called Manchester Hall. And basically, what it's like living in a dorm, there's these long hallways that have all these doors on them, and there's people living in all the rooms. Usually, you have a roommate. You can have a single room. It's possible to have like four people in a room, but your average college room, usually there's two people. You can pick your roommate, or sometimes if you don't want to pick your roommate or you're not really sure about it, they can just assign you a roommate or you can find them online. There's a lot of different options for picking a roommate. So I currently do not have a roommate, but I have had a roommate in the past. So I go to class here on campus. Right now everything is remote because of COVID, but usually I would be walking around to all of the buildings attending class.
College is about what you make it. I personally have had awesome college moments and I commute every day. Plus, pre-pandemic, you can stay with your friends and it's so fun to be able to stay in your friend's dorm and then go home to your own bed.
And I think for me, trying to work and pay out of pocket, I was more focused on trying to just get through college. But now that I'm out, I realize I missed a lot of football games, basketball games, soccer games, and dinners with friends and stuff like that instead of going to work. So they you can get that experience, but you have to put the first foot out there.
Is I honestly do not think you're going to get the same experience if you're a commuter. I am a commuter myself, and I've noticed the first semester of college, I had a really hard time meeting people, getting to know people, finding groups, finding organizations, finding clubs to be a part of. And while that I believe is because of COVID, I also think that just not being on campus kind of makes you feel like you're not a part of that university. And I think it's very hard overall to be a commuter as a college student.
And then extracurricular activities in college, those are on a diverse scale, I would say. Each college at Akron has their own kind of clubs that you can join. For instance, at the business college at Akron, every major has its own club. It's amazing. So there's an international business club, a marketing club, ones that I've actually taken part in. But apart from clubs, there are also intramural sports, which are really fun. I was actually a captain of an intramural soccer team a few years ago. That was a really cool experience. Really, you got to meet new people and also build new skill sets, which the biggest thing in college, building those skill sets.
My biggest advice to anyone who wants to go into collegiate athletics or any serious club time commitment is to really know what you're getting into, know the program, and really you have to love what you're doing because it is tough and it is a large time commitment. When I cheered at Kent, we had practices 5:45 to 8 or 8:30 in the morning before you had class, before you had anything else. That is a big time commitment. It's not easy to wake up that early. We also had workouts twice a week, and then like commitments for like cheering at games or doing appearances or just other things, study hours for the program. It is a lot of time commitment. You have to be aware of that going in. You really have to be doing what you love, or it is really tough. But you can make it work if you really are that dedicated to it and you're enjoying it.
So at Ohio State, there's so many extracurricular activities to choose from. It's kind of overwhelming. However, it's the first weekend that you move in on campus, but there's what's called an involvement fair, where normally in non-COVID circumstances, lined down one of the roads on campus is a bunch of booths where you can just drop by, and there's like all sections are together. So like if you're wanting to join a musical group, there's like show choir, band, choir, all of those different activities are lumped together, so it's easier to differentiate the different ones. There's many sports clubs that you can join. I played softball in high school, so I really wanted to join a club softball team. I didn't, just because I was still getting acclimated to classes and all that, but there's so many different activities to choose from. I was also in show choir in high school, so I was really interested in a musical group, but again, I didn't join one because I was getting used to classes. However, the spring semester of my freshman year, I did join a sorority called Alpha Omicron Pi, and I'm now the president of it. So you should definitely join an activity of some sort, an extracurricular. There's so many opportunities, there's so many different things to join, and there's so many ways to advance in your leadership skills.